Hello everyone, we're Sonic the Joe Gamer here and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time, we went down, and Hanako was there, and she has a phone! Who knew? Also, more importantly, the day before that, we show her our own scarring. Honestly, that was a very bold move. But anyways, this time, let's find out what we're doing. Maybe Lily will come back. Maybe. Anyways, finally reaching the classroom after the usual walk from the dormitories, I step inside. My eyes immediately turn to the third seat from the left in the back row, Hanako's seat. It's empty. After glancing around the classroom, it looks like she isn't here yet. Two girls from the newspaper club are here in the two seats to the left of Hanako's, as are Shizune and Misha, but that's about it. We exchange morning greetings before I take my seat. I have to admit that this is a bit of a relief. This gives me at least a few more minutes to think. Not that I haven't been doing so previously. Ever since our trip to town, Hanako's been on my mind. I still don't know what to make of our relationship to my relationship to Hanako. I like her, I can admit that much to myself. Want to protect and shield her from the pain she feels. I really don't think my feelings are just those of friendship anymore. But that said, I feel like I don't even know her. If I made a move on her, how would she take it? Is she in an emotional state that allows her to make a reasonable decision about a relationship? How would she cope with anything that might happen afterwards? There's also the possibility that I'm completely misinterpreting Hanako. Not a difficult thing to do with someone whose social skills seem to be so undeveloped. Sound of footsteps coming up to the door, making me perk up. It ends up being Miki. She barely acknowledges my existence when I accidentally made eye contact with her. I'm about to look away, but another person comes in not long after she takes her seat. There's Hanako! I feel myself freeze as I see Hanako enter. This isn't a rational reaction, but I have no idea how I should act or what I should say to her. For a moment, our eyes meet. Yo! And then, just as quickly, she looks away and moves to her seat without saying a single word. As is now usual for period following classes, my face is buried deep in a book that I find thoroughly uninteresting. Studying is not something that comes naturally to me. Mood. I didn't study a lot before coming to Yamaku. Mood. And until now, I've largely managed to coast through on talent alone. Mood. It's frustrating that I can't do that anymore. Mood. This entire thing freaking sums me up and I hate it. Judging by the faces of the other few students in the library, I don't think I'm alone in my distaste for this. Misery loves company, I suppose. I decided to spend lunchtime with Hanako, since we haven't had lunch together for a while now. I may as well have spent the time studying, though. Aside from pathetically small snippets of small talk, there was barely a word said between us. Why does she keep doing this to me? I just want to protect her, to be there for her. But every time I feel like we're coming closer, we end up further away. Are you busy? Hanako? My head volume surrounded surprise, causing her to retreat in fright. That was bad timing. If I hadn't been thinking about it at that very moment, probably wouldn't have been nearly so startled. Sorry! You just startled me. I found myself staring at her longer than I should. I go back to the text lying on the table in front of me. I feel more like I'm just staring at words rather than actually reading. I get the feeling Hanako can notice this as well, so I sigh and close the book. What's up? I was just wondering what you were reading. She looks a little downcast at some reaction to seeing her. Given up the prospect of getting any more work done, I get up, return the book to its place on the nearby shelf. Just an English textbook. Has it helped? It helped me realize that I don't like English, yes. Mood. Hanako gives a small giggle. I may muse on the strange state of our friendship, but I do know that such little gestures are things that I wouldn't see were I not at least some distance closer to her than when we first met. Look at her for a moment. Think about what I do and don't know about her. Slightly depressing topic. Is something wrong? If I want to know more about her, maybe I should stop being so evasive about it. Talking with Lily as an equal rather than being a constant fear of causing her to become upset worked fine. So I should just try a straightforward approach with Hanako as well. Hey Hanako, what? phone. Hey, Hanako, do you mind if I ask you a question? I don't mind. I want to know what your life was like. Your life before coming to Yamaku. She hesitates, briefly considering backing off, but she seems to be taking the question quite seriously. I sit and watch her, silently letting her take her time. She's not making eye contact with me, and looks almost as if she's arguing with herself into letting herself open up to me more. Her answer finally comes in a stiff, almost reluctant nod. She looks far more tense than she did before I asked. Okay, but in return, you have to tell me about your life as well. And now I don't follow her as she begins to walk out of the library so we can talk. Right now, most of the students have already left the main building, so apart from a few people hovering around club rooms, the hallways are largely empty. I guess we'll start with coming to Yamaku. Let's see. I was in the hospital when my parents first told me about Yamaku Academy. The doctors told me I shouldn't go to my old school anymore. My parents agreed and persuaded me to apply for Yamaku, even though it would mean living away from them for the first time. It must have been hard for you. Well, yeah, I have to admit that it was. My parents both worked long hours and full-time, so having to live reasonably independent wasn't anything new to me. It was the fact that I was going to a school for disabled students that hit the hardest, I think. And you? A small group of shouting girls passes us as we near the stairs, with Hanako pressing herself to my side until we reach the ground floor. She doesn't usually come this close while just walking in the school, so I'm a little put off. The staff at the orphanage offered me some options as what I can do. Middle school hadn't been good, so I thought that Yamaku might be better. He was isolated, and I thought it might be easier to get by here with most of others being disabled. It's pretty ironic that the reasons Hanako looked forward to Yamaku are the exact reasons I hated the idea. To me, it felt like I was being shunted somewhere away from society, and everyone knew it. To Hanako, that was probably an inviting prospect. What was life like at the orphanage? It was okay. The staff there was nice, and they took care of us. The children there didn't talk to me much, but I didn't really want to talk with them either, so I didn't mind. The orphanage had a little library, so I started to read to pass the time. The staff didn't mind because it made me easier to handle that many of the other children. You didn't make any friends there? No, I think my life was on hold. During that time, I knew that, but I didn't mind. To think her life was on hold for all that time. Though, depending on when the fire happened, that was a huge chunk of her life. No parents, no friends, apparently no relatives. We walked through the door to the courtyard. I expect the need to avert my eyes from the sun, but by now, it's well into sunset. And her eyes keep flickering to me, so I look away for her for a bit. What was it like in the hospital? I quickly clear my thoughts and try to refocus them. I just hesitated for a bit, but I know that I have to tell her. We're close enough for her to feel comfortable telling me this, so it's only fair that I reciprocate. It was okay at times, but at others, it was pretty bad. At the beginning, everyone sent their sympathies and came to visit often. It was just like Rick an arm or something. Meeting all my friends was one of the good times. Iwanako came in often as well, more than often than anyone else. But there were bad times too. When my friends slowly stopped visiting, I began to realize how grave my situation was. It reminded me that this wasn't just a broken limb, but that I was now a different person than before. Even the times Iwanako would spend with me became torturous. By the end, we were reduced to silence, whereas before, she'd be talking constantly. But that's how Iwanako always was. She may have been a fragile person, but she would talk constantly to try and hide that fact. Not about anything in particular, just talk. I think the three lowest points would have been when my parents told me I wouldn't be going to my old school anymore, my birthday passing while in the hospital, and when Iwanako left for the last time. Our birthday was in that? We leave the garden school buildings behind us as we begin to follow the main path through the gardens. There may have been the odd bystander in the school buildings, but outside, we're practically alone. What was your middle school like? I liked it. I grew up in a really metropolitan area, and the middle school was nearby, so it was pretty crowded. I didn't mind, probably because I'm used to being in crowds and around lots of other people. I got good grades, I played soccer with my friends, spent a fair bit of my time hanging out with them after school as well. Did get teased a bit over my hair though. Your hair? I grimaced a little, so I put my hand over my hair to cover it. I keep getting tufts and strands that refuse to flatten or stay where I wanted them. My mother wouldn't let me just get my hair shaved. It had a habit of popping out no matter how much I tried to brush it down. It still does a little. I was worried I'd get that reply. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I give a mild laugh and wave it off. It's fine, I know it still does. Feels strange to have someone act so interested in my past. If it were anyone else, I'd think they were just acting polite. But that's something I don't really think Hanako would do. Well, if she did, she'd do it so badly that it would be obvious. There are a number of girls in the common room on the ground floor, and Hanako presses herself to my side once more as we pass them. I expect her to break off, but instead she continues to cling onto me as we walk towards the stairway. Something about the way she's holding onto my feet on me feels different from usual. I'm left deep in thought as we walk up the stairs and down the hallway. It's only when we stop that I look up and realize that I've been following her without question. Why did we come to your dormitory room? She looks straight at the door without so much as a glance in my direction. Hanako? She moves to answer but stops herself. Instead, she silently breaks from my side, opens the door, and steps inside. I look up and down the hallway, a bit lost as to exactly what I should be doing. Shrugging, I decided to follow her since I don't have any reason to do otherwise. Hanako stands in the middle of her room and looks straight at me. It's unnerving when she does. Such an unusual reaction for her. I open my mouth to speak as she preempts me. Could you close and lock the door? Double checking. Okay, yes, good, good. I don't know how to feel about this. Hanako's hand reached for her chest, grabbing her blouse at her heart. I turn to lock the door shut, and then freeze. The atmosphere is beginning to feel quite strange. This feeling is only made profound when I hear the curtains being pulled behind me. It's going to be night soon. You're a girl, you're a girl, you're a guy and a girl in a bedroom. She's closing the curtains, and I'm shutting and locking the door. She can't really have that in mind, can she? I glump and turn around very, very slowly. Hanako's in the center of the room, but hasn't turned back to face me. You told me about your past, so I have to tell you mine. She takes a deep and shuddered breath and pauses for a number of seconds. Her hands move together. Hanako! But please don't say anything. I immediately say hushed as she slips off. For, I'm sorry that I'm not really reading this. This is not exactly the most family-friendly thing, and this is why I have the freaking adult filter on. Further to the spot, all I can do is watch as Hanako hands troubling unclips and lets her fall to the ground. Oh, sure. Oh. Finally, she takes her blouse in her hands and draws it off, her falling from shoulders, and so Hanako stands in the middle of the room, all but bared. Save for her, yeah. This is all of me. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her right side is a similar texture of that on her face, but it's also stretched taut and covering a much larger area. Scarring is by far the worst on shoulder, buttock, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life, this is the event that redefined Hanako's. If I'd seen this when I first met her, I'd have been in shock. Not only at the sight, but also at the idea that something like this was survivable. But after having had time to get used to the idea, after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and color, the reaction is more measured. My reaction right now is not due to her scarring, but to her body. The fire happened when I was 8 years old. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started. Hanako's voice trembles, the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands are doing just the same. I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. My mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived. Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice crackling under the combined pressure of exposing herself to me like this, reliving those painful memories from so long ago. I want to say something, anything to make her feel better. Can't though. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She forced herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this I feel most distant to her. I'm sorry for making you see this. There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now, and what Hanako wants me to say now, is the truth. What I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for a long time, her breathing uneven as she tries to remain steady amidst the emotions we're both feeling. Feels less like she's looking at me than she's looking through me. Slowly walk towards her and gently place my hands on her shoulders as she lets go of her blouse. She gasps a little, not in fright but in simple startlement. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Hanako is a girl, with all that entails. She's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves in all the right places. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to her nail slung over her shoulder, is alluring. Hair! Nail. Time to say nail. Hair over. Thanks to her hair slung over her shoulder is alluring. I know that I'm not pretty, like Lily. I just wanted you to see me, the real me. I've already seen the real you, though. You didn't need to take off your clothes for that. What the hell are you good for? I knew. Her lips are open just a little. She lets out a sharp breath as, without thinking, I breathlessly lean forward and press my lips to hers. The kiss only lasts for a fleeting moment before our faces part, our breathing quick and nervous. The feeling of Hanako's mouth lingers, and her eyes remain locked to mine. Well, I am not going to be able to stream this, I just realized. Trembling a little myself, I remove my tie and begin undoing the buttons of my shirt. Hanako remains standing where she does, looking at the ground in front of her rather than watching me undress. On the other hand, I am... I thought this would block it! On the one hand, I'm thankful for that. I've always been somewhat self-conscious of my body, but my scarring has made that quite a lot worse. On the other hand, though, this atmosphere feels very strange. My shirt falls to the floor in a heap, and untidy and crumbled as Hanako's blouse and skirt. Hanako's entire body visibly flinches at the sound of the zipper on my trousers being pulled. I don't think my eye. I don't know what to do here. I mean, you can read this. In front of. When I turned on adult content, I did not think it'd end up like this. I knew this had adult content in it, but I thought that freaking disable would have helped. Is it not on? Take the initiative. Turning around and sitting on the side of the table, I looked at her face to invite her to take a seat, whether next to me or in front of me, but end up awkwardly looking down to stop myself from staring at her body. Then after a couple of seconds, it ends. Sound of Hanako's breathing in my own rings in my ears, almost painfully loudly. Hanako's holds an arm over her face, her mouth My arms almost give way and my vision distorts, as if someone's grabbed it and pulled it sideways. Let myself fall sideways onto the bed beside the painting Hanako, fear for falling onto her instead. Both lie beside each. Uh-oh, we're having a heart attack! This is dangerous time. I have to think this through and not panic, lest I make my situation any worse. See, Jeffa, I take control of my erratic breathing. Force myself to make long, deep breaths. I count half a dozen before I start to feel physically calm again. Press my hand to my chest to assure myself. My heart beats back to normal. I'm okay. I turn my face toward Hanako, who's already looking at me. Her expression looks pretty dazed, but underneath that, there's definitely a look of concern. She realized what happened. I'm okay. Everything's back to normal. I find myself barely able to get the words out between breaths. I would tire my normal body out this much, and so I have no doubt my condition is at least partially at fault. Why did my body have to do this right now? All thoughts of my heart, though, are pushed aside as I see the wide smile forming on Hanako's face. As always, I smile back without another thought. Hanako's smile has always been infectious, in its almost childlike sweetness and honesty, something that sets her apart from anyone else I know. Right now, we don't need words. Everything we want to communicate to each other, we can share just fine without them. Now I know what the freaking disabled's for. I'm ending it here. I don't know how to feel anymore. This is restarting the junk gamer. Why the hell is it that? Why would you freaking... I swear, I try to be family friendly. I play M-rated games, but this is a new goddamn level. I'm gonna have to censor that, which means I can't do my original plan, because my plan was to go and freaking do live streams for the others. In order to save up time. I might just cancel that, honestly. That's all for this time. This is Returning Video Game. I hope you enjoyed the series so far, and I hope to see all you guys again next time. See you then.